turntable, and all type of shit. You know, all like old school, like analog, like music equipment. It just looks wild. It looks like from like past time. Um, he had all type of albums, all type of like records. He was also a photographer. He lived right outside of Chicago. He went and like shot like Pink Floyd when they would come through Chicago, the band when they would come through, and like I would listen to a lot of these bands, Chicago, Funkadelic, Pink Floyd, you know, on this massive like speaker setup essentially, and that was like my first like I didn't even realize it, but looking back now, that was my first experience with music, and then like fast forward into that's like an integral part of that. And fast forward into like I would say like my middle school to high school. At the time, my stepdad, he was like the CD man. So like he was the guy like on the corner that would sell CDs to everybody, like booming. Like he was the man in the city doing that. So I literally had access to all the music that was like current at the time, past, whatever it was, I had it like at my access, and I listened to everything. I listened, and at that point in time, I was kind of more into like the hip hop, rap, type of scene. But I was also kind of like delving into like the Pink Floyd and stuff. But this is what I had at my disposal, so it was in the CD player all the time. Plies, Nelly. Shit, I don't know anybody who was like in that like 2000s like era to like 2010 era, like anybody there, I was listening to them.
So then, what would you describe your sound today?
I would ask for help to describe my sound. I don't even know. The thing that I just stick to is psychedelic rock. I've heard a lot of different things. I just played in Indianapolis. Somebody said that sounds like metal. I've heard folk, I've heard blues, I've heard a lot of different things. But I don't want to tie myself down to any specific notion or any specific like genre of music. I just consider myself to be an artist and make sounds. Like, and this is what it is.
Speaking about shows, do shows always go well, or do shows as in like, is it always, and if they don't go well, is it mostly like a promoter thing, or is it the venue? What would you say overall, not to get into specifics?
So like overall, there's a lot of like things that have to go well to have like a really good show. Okay. There's a lot of moving parts. First of all, as an artist, you have to be well seasoned. Not even well seasoned. You just have to have your set practice and down, or your set practice well, and you have to have that down. That's just like the biggest thing. You can't get up there looking like a fool. You got to know your shit. So again, that's like 100% of it. But after that, it's the venue. Is the venue gonna have good sound set up? Are they gonna have a good sound guy? What are you walking into? Are you gonna have the proper materials to compensate for that? If not, do you know the knowledge to, if that's not there, to step in and make sure that you sound good? Because if the sound setup doesn't sound good, if that is shitty, then you are just gonna sound shitty. Just like, that's just how it is. So that's another major part of it. And then the atmosphere that the venue brings, the people that you bring, the whole, everything, goes into like that, 10, 20 minutes on the stage of you doing whatever you're doing. So, and all those come out to be shitty shows, and some of those are like great shows. So yeah.
Can you give us any crazy, funny, or like wild stories? Because I know you've been traveling a little bit.
Yeah, just like anything.
Anything.
So I don't really I wouldn't say I have like any crazy or wild stories. Like, I'm not out on the road partying. I'm not at that point yet, But I have been like, so I was out in New York and driving through New York, and like I'm literally like going off of nothing. So I stopped at this gas station and I end up falling asleep. And then I wake up to a knock on the window, and it's the police. And there's probably like 8 cop cars all around. It's like that one gas station where the police, hang out at.
Oh.
And I just happened to be there. So I get a knock and I roll down the window. I'm tripping because like, I'm not even going to explain my situation, but
Right.
not a good situation. So like, and I gets a knock on the window. The cop asked me, he says, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "All right, be safe out here, man." Shit. Shit. He walks in. I'm like, man, I gotta get out of here. Like, thank you, universe. I can tell you another. It's fucking crazy. I can tell you another thing that happened. So I have a show in Indiana. I'm not gonna say like where it's at, but the day of the show, I find out that there is no sound equipment. So like, hey bands, you have to bring sound equipment in order to like do whatever you need to do. Okay. So I hit up a homie, hey, let me borrow some sound equipment. Get that like an hour before. Hurry up, get there. So I get there. Everybody, all the artists are mingling and stuff. Somebody has some stuff set up. Hey, we got this. You might not need to bring them. All right, smooth. So I, come up, set my shit up, get started, and then I start looking around. I'm like, hey, where's the dude with the mic? Where, somebody said it was gonna be all set up. We just talked about this. So I get up there and I'm like, hey, what's the dude with the mic? The mic's not here. So I said, fuck it, I just do the set. Or without like vocals. So it's just I do an instrumental set, and I fucking kill it. Like, I just know I did. People in the crowd like, yeah, this dude is pretty good, so on and so forth. And then the whole time there's this guy in the corner, just watching, and I figure out this is the guy who was supposed to have the mic. You know what I mean? So he just tuned into me the whole time, and so this is like that was another crazy experience to where it could have been a terrible set, but you got to be ready for whatever the universe is going to throw at you, and you got to make the best out of it. So
how far have you traveled and how many shows have you done?
I can't even as far as I've traveled is New York, so like the East Coast to do shows. Let's see, I've gone down to like the Tennessee area, but that is like as far as I've gone to do shows. So I would say like the Midwest, Upper East, and then what was the?
And how many shows?
How many shows? I can't even count at this point. I'm not sure. It's not like a bunch, but like I don't know. It's like probably approaching like 50 or so within the past 6 months.
Nice.
Yeah.
How far out do you have to book out with someone?
That just, I don't even get booked really, I would say. Like, I just send emails, and like sometimes like, just like July is happening now. So in June, at the end of June, I probably booked all my shows for July. Like, hey, you want to do this? Hey, you want to do that? But it's because I sent emails in December of last year or January of this year, and they're just now getting back to me. I got a show that I'm doing in Chicago. I sent them an email in December of last year, and they just got back to me